What's good? Welcome to the MJ2.O podcast.
Here we'll talk about fitness, motivation, and entrepreneurship.
We give our weekly updates and recaps, let you in on future projects and ambitions we have.
We'll also be sharing some stories.
We'll have guests on this podcast, not this week, but moving on in the future when we get back on campus and we're going to be more in person, then we'll have guests on the podcast.
And you can join us on our mission to grow, enjoy life, and just become better people.
If you don't already, go ahead and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at MJ2.O and check out limitbreakbrand.com for workout apparel programs, personal training. Hit the DMs if you want any personal training from us, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Let's start with the brand updates. Go ahead, Jordan.
All right, so basically, as you can tell, this podcast is one of our main updates to the brand, and it's going to be mostly in person, and we're going to have some guests on, but the first couple episodes will be over Zoom.
Yeah, so moving forward, this next week we'll be on Zoom. Week after that, we'll have a weekly episode. It'll be, when we get back on campus, we'll be able to talk in person. We'll be able to have our guest speakers come in. That'll be a lot better quality at the time, but for now, bear with us. And also, updates on the website. We're going to be working on a workout apparel clothing line. So stay tuned. Look out for that. We're going to be updating y'all with that. So
limitbreakbrand.com. Check in.
Sure.
Tap into that.
As far as our personal updates, Jordan and I have been talking a lot about weekly goals that stem from our daily habits. I mean, we've talked a lot about long-term and all the other goals, monthly goals as well, but really the updates we'll give you will be on our weekly goals. So for my weekly goals, I've been trying to keep a clean living space. Jordan knows that that's been a little bit of inconsistency in my life.
He's a little messy.
Not unorganized, but
messy. Not unorganized, but just messy. Unorganized is like scatterbrained all over the place. He's very, very together person, just a little messy. Lived with him for 3 years, I know.
I just have that chair that will have all the clothes on it that are too clean for the hamper, but too dirty for the closet. So weekly stuff. I gotta clean my room once a week. Just keep it immaculate for the whole week, and that's my goal.
You can do it.
One of my goals. Another big goal is to try to stay with my daily habits a lot. We'll get more into that, what the daily habits really mean to us. But another one is a lot with the content creation, being consistent. We're going into the new year. We've been slacking a little bit on the content. So my goal for this week was to get as much content on as possible, have at least one YouTube video, have a couple TikToks, have a few Instagram videos. So yeah, that's my goals for the week. And that's, we're halfway through right now. Got a lot of content stored. So be ready for that.
Yeah, mine's pretty similar to what Mike was talking about. Like, stay up to date on the content. Like, we'll talk more about it, but basically we want to stay a couple weeks ahead, so we're not playing catch up or kind of feeling behind like we have in the past sometimes. So yeah, stay on top of content. But also, small goal for me is make sure I'm in the bed by at least 12 on most nights. Sometimes it's gonna be a little later, or hopefully it's a little bit early, but we'll see how it goes.
Right, and so, getting into our topic of the week, which is the new year, 2021.
2020 was cheeks.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
I gotta clear the air.
The goal for 2021, I mean, regardless of whatever your goal is, I'm sure you're trying to have a better year than 2020. But as far as the unpredictability with this world and where things might go, everything that you're going to be able to control, as far as what you do with your body, what you say, what's going on in your head, you got to be able to take full advantage of that, and that's going to be able to change your year. So Jordan and I are going to talk a lot about consistency and just
the word of the year. It's the word of the year.
Yeah, no, that's our word of the year, consistency. And Jordan and I have been, we're really ambitious people. We have a lot of goals. We have high hopes, high expectations, high standards, but we always tend to be a little inconsistent at times. And so, we will get more into the story about this later, but consistency is really going to be the deciding factor about everything, which leads into, relates over to our daily habits.
Yep. So basically just some questions that we've asked ourselves and that you guys can ask yourselves as well is basically just like, in the word of consistency, like, how can you be consistent and stay motivated? Something that we have been doing is like writing our daily habits. Like, Michael and I will meet. I was weird calling you Michael. Why did I say that? Mike. Me, Mike. I don't know why I did that. I was trying to be formal. Me and Mike.
That,
And
don't do
I'm
that.
never doing that again.
Everyone else listening, you gotta call me Michael, but Jordan, you're not allowed to call me Michael. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm not doing that ever again. It felt weird off the tongue. Yeah, me and Mike are gonna try and be, more consistent, stay motivated, help you guys stay motivated. So yeah, I was saying we write our daily goals. We kind of meet sometimes nightly, but at least 3 times a week to basically check in, see how we've been doing, what do we need to adjust, meet about brand things, stuff like that. It helps to have someone that holds you accountable and kind of stay on top of things. And then also just we talk about again weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and then we have like lofty long-term goals. We're talking about how we're both pretty ambitious. So
Yeah, and you need all these stages of goals to really allow your life to work in a certain way, allow it to be, carry over with consistency because you have those long-term goals that drives your motivation on the grand scheme of things. It allows you to remember why you're doing something, why you're creating monthly goals, why you're creating daily habits. Everything you do should lead up to that ultimate goal. Um, and by ultimate goal, I don't mean something that's necessarily attainable, but something that is more so sustainable. So, for example, if you want to go to the NBA, a long-term goal is not necessarily like the overarching goal is not necessarily to make it to the NBA. It's more so to do like to play the sport you love professionally or something like that. So along the lines of that mindset being something that can drive you to do hard work every day or do stuff that you don't necessarily want to do every day in order to get to a point at which you can see yourself happy and balanced in life, that's going to be a big deciding factor, especially when you break it down into the monthly goals and the weekly goals and the daily goals. And the daily goals end up just becoming habits that you're going to do every single day. Like Jordan was saying, just going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. And that's going to be the deciding factor for how well that you can, achieve all the other goals.
yeah, building off of what Mike was saying, like we talked a lot about this before, like just me and him one on one. But it's like a lot of people get caught up into doing things that they are feel like other people expect them to do or what other people tell them to do. But a lot of the times, like when you do something that you actually enjoy, whether it's hard or not, you're gonna get your best work from it because you like doing it, and the hard work that you put in, you won't even realize that you're putting in the hard work to do it. So, like when you find something that you actually like and enjoy, that it could take you a long way.
Yeah. And hard work in general, that's just something that you're going to come across no matter what career path you choose or what journey of life you want to be. I mean, whether you're a content creator,
Right.
um, fitness, whether you're an athlete, whether you're 9 to 5, whether you're a corporate job, whether you're a business owner, CEO, painter, artist,
Dad.
everything you do is going to require hard work. It's just a matter of what hard work that you are going to feel fulfilled doing because at the same time, you got to be able to enjoy the process along the way. Even if it hurts, even if it's painful, even if it can get boring sometimes, that's got to be something that you can see yourself consistently doing.
Yeah, like the platform or like the specifics change, but the general structure of like successful people, successful mindset is pretty standard across the board. Like you're gonna have to put in a lot of work, put in the time. It's like gonna be usually pretty time consuming, and then like also just networking, talking, bouncing ideas off other people who are also in the same space as you. So
And all of this just comes right back down to consistency. So that's if there's anything that we can share with you, if there's anything that you'll be able to see from us this year, it's going to be how that's going to be our main goal, is just striving towards consistency with the daily goals, even just the little victories here and there, whether it's waking up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time, making sure we eat like we hit our calorie counts, making sure we just do at some sort of workout every day, whatever it is, just find something that's attainable that you can do every day because it's going to psychologically help you to feel accomplished on the daily basis, which is going to prevent you from burning out in the long term.
and it can be hard. Like now we're at like I'm personally at the place now where like I'm fully committed and ready to like the day to day like small goals like accomplish and it builds up. But it can be hard. Like people will fall off or like you might take a break or things like that, and that's okay when you're just like getting into a new routine because like it's hard to break old habits. It's hard to like be consistent. Like it's not just something like that's just gonna happen. Like you gotta be put in the effort. You gotta be consistent and putting an effort to be consistent, if that makes sense. So like if you stray off, like how quickly can you get back on the right path? That's what it's gonna be about.
Right. And that goes over to balance, which is a huge part of life. That's something I'm trying to work on, especially. Jordan and I balance each other out very well. And as we've worked together more, we've lived together and, been friends for this time, we've sort of gravitated towards each other more in terms of how our personalities are and how our character has developed. And just overarching, looking at everything that he's just said in general, you can't be too hard on yourself, but you also can't be too light on yourself. You got to have that balance in between allowing yourself some leeway, but also holding yourself accountable to the goals that you set and what you said you would do. So it's not about getting discouraged on yourself for not accomplishing something. It's more so about utilizing the opportunities you can to make yourself better.
Right. That could even connect back to the brand, to be honest, bro. Like MJ2.O, like we haven't been on one specific like upward trajectory. Like we've kind of like experimented, dabbled, bounced around a little bit, and you're pretty much gonna get that with anything in life that's you want to be successful. Like you're never gonna get it right in the first try, usually.
Right, and if you're focused on the process, if that's what you're trying to enjoy, which is what it should be, then balance will be something that you try to look for a little bit more, because that'll be something that you can actually sustain.
Right.
And that goes across the boards with like working out, and nutrition is probably the easiest way to see it, because on one end you don't want to be overworking yourself, you don't want to be eating so strict that you can't sustain that nutritional diet for the rest of your life, but at the same time you don't want to be eating whatever you want, you don't want to be really lazy. So that's the balance that you got to find in between. So let's on to the referrals. Jordan, you got a story.
Yeah. So my referral for this week, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my friend Greg. He's famous. He does content creation, but he's mostly famous on TikTok now. He has like almost like 3 million followers. Like I think it's like 2.8 or something like that. But basically, we grew up together. Like we used to go to the same gym all the time. Like we played ball together, everything. And he was kind of someone that I was able to personally watch, like kind of grow and like follow their dreams. Like I would watch him like constantly posting to Snapchat, like advocating and promoting things that he was working on, or like himself as a content creator. And like there were people that doubted him, that made fun of him for certain types of things, and I just kind of watched it and I looked up to him. He was a very cool, like I'm talking about him like he's dead. He is a very cool guy. Like I just talked to him the other day, like really down to earth guy. Like he's been reposted by like Shade Room, other major like social media platforms, like meme pages, stuff like that. But I still talk to him like it's normal. So like very humble, but I kind of watched the creative process of trying things, not letting the outside like ideas discourage you or take you off of a path that you think is right. And it's kind of like basically goes back to everything we were talking about in terms of like consistency, but also just like in terms of our podcast, what our goal is to talk about things and like kind of create a space where we can reflect and sort of share things that are personal to us to help other people maybe take something and become a better person. And like I kind of was able to take that same type of goal or interaction that I just described from him watching, like, because he's like the only person I've seen in content creation personally in my life like have that ascension. So it was kind of like similar to what we're trying to do here with this podcast.
Yeah, and just make sure just for everyone listening, this goes for Jordan and I as well. What's gonna get you really far in life is just being able to listen and be able to watch and learn from other people, which Jordan and I try to do a lot of. Like we talk with a lot of people, we try to get as much information from them, learn from them as much as possible. Utilize your resources. I mean, as motivated as we may seem, it's not always like this. We don't always feel really amped up and ready to go. So I mean, my referral would be Ben Lionel Scott on either YouTube or Spotify, to have just those motivational videos where you need that extra boost or that little extra motivation to help you either get up out of bed or get off your phone because you've been scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours straight or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So make sure you utilize those opportunities, be consistent, and
it makes it real when you see other people.
Yeah.
Because like he told me, I remember him telling me like, oh, like, bro, give me like four years, I'm moving to LA. And we were like, oh yeah. Like, you know how people like your friends tell you stuff, whatever. You're like, yeah. And he actually did that. Like I literally watched on Snapchat as him take his car and drive out to LA with his girlfriend to live. And like they live out there now and he just makes videos.
That's fire.
Awesome.
That's how we want to be. Set the goals, consistent, and then get them. And you said like 4 years too. So
yeah.
That's a amount of time. I feel like people. This isn't my quote. This is Tony Robbins' quote. But he said that people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 4 or 5 years. where it's we get too caught up in the moment. We want something so quick. So the consistency helps just thinking ahead.
Definitely.
All right. Our question of the week was, so we set out a poll on our Instagram. It said, it was a would you rather question. And it was, would you rather every single person in the world wear a silver jumpsuit, a matching silver jumpsuit? Or would you rather anytime two people that had the same article of clothing meet each other, they had to fight to the death? And on Instagram, the poll ended up being 85% in favor of fighting to the death.
You know what I'm saying? People love entertainment like that. We're living in an age of like violence and entertainment is what goes. Like that's what sells.
Imagine just walking in the street and you just see two people going at it. Like, you've seen that before, but if this were a thing, people would just, one, no cops would be involved. Like there wouldn't be any stop. No one would try to stop the fight. Everyone would just kind of let it happen.
Like the purge.
Yeah, you just kind of watch it. People would just circle up and be like, oh, again.
Yeah, we briefly were talking, like we were like, all right, so what happens if like a grown man and a baby were wearing the same article of clothing? Like they're just gonna just like
a bracelet or something. Or like, yeah, I mean, what are these rules of fight to the death? What happens if you don't fight to the death? That's a good question. That's a good clarifying question.
If you refuse?
Yeah.
If you refuse to fight to the death, then you're literally stomped out by everyone else that's watching.
That's the societal.
Yeah, it's just the understanding. Like either you fight or you're gonna get stomped out. You automatically forfeit. Like you're dead.
Wow. Yeah. Someone said both, because then when everyone's wearing matching silver jumpsuits, they're all gonna be fighting each other. The world is just gonna be a fight to the death.
Yeah, we were talking about branding too. Like that would change branding, where it's like all the popular brands would not be a thing anymore because no one would want to have to fight.
Or they would be extremely more expensive. Like Gucci would have a belt, instead of everyone wearing the same Gucci belt, Gucci would just have like one specific belt that would be worth like $3 million because one made. They would have stuff like that. And yeah, the question would be another, like stores, they wouldn't release mass items of clothing. They would release like 2 or 3 of each article of clothing. And if you see someone else touching it, don't go near it, because if they buy it, you gotta, unless they're like,
bro, can you imagine with COVID, bro? Like if somebody had the same mask as you, like you would just have to like take down your mask and you'd be like, just cough on them. Everyone would just group cough on them.
I mean, there's so many masks too. We'd have to. You can't.
Oh my god.
Or hats. You could have like a 5-year-old wearing the same hat as like a 20-year-old.
Yeah, we mentioned that it has to be the same size though to like make it a little more fair.
Yeah, we said everything's got to be the same size because you got a basic white T-shirt. It's gonna be
really like
or white beater. It's got to be the same size.
Vineyard Vines to the death. Like the vineyard vines, like dual.
Yeah, man. This is my jacket. No, we're not the same because this one has the pink lining on the inside. Yours has the green. All right, man. Cool.
Chill, bro. This one's a little different. Look, it's got the patch.
It's got my name embroidered into it.
Like, oh, nice feature.
Respect. What y'all think? Everyone listening.
Facts. Take this to your work colleagues, your friends. Ask them too. It's meant to be like a fun little question.
Let us know. All right. As far as everything else, that wraps up the first episode of the MJ2.O podcast.
Very solid. I enjoyed this.
Thank you all for watching and listening to this week's episode.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at MJ2.O.
And we'll see you in next week's episode. Peace out.
Peace, guys. I don't know why I went like that. I was like,
all right.